Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Daily Jase live show. Excited to be here, pumped for our guest today. I mainly delve into the business realm with the guest, but on today's show, I thought I'd bring someone from the music industry. He's a close friend of mine, and he's an epic dude, has some gnarly stories, so I thought I'd bring him onto the stage. Welcome, Joshua O'Donnell. How you been, mate? Lead vocalist of Banks Arcade.
That's the one. That's the one. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good to have you on. For everyone who may not know you or has heard of you, give the quick five of your journey, what you're all about, and how you came to be here.
Yeah, cool. So I'm the vocalist for a band called Banks Arcade. Banks Arcade is I call it modern heavy music. It's a combination of hip hop and rock and heavy metal, and it's just our own new brand of music that's crazy. And we like it. And I've been making music for probably about 8 years now, and pursuing the things with this band for about 3. And I do a lot of things. I'm quite enthusiastic about martial arts and MMA, and obviously our relationship started at the infamous Palace when I was living up in Auckland when Banks Arcade was kind of birthed. And I'm sure that we'll get into some of the crazy stories that went on at that place, But yeah, that's me. I love music. I love crazy shit and crazy people. And at the moment, we've just finished recording our album and are working really hard on having upcoming shows and all the new stuff that's on the cards for us.
Mean, bro. Just to give people a bit of scope into what I guess you've achieved in the short time. Just delve a little bit into your martial arts side and what's come of that, and then we'll get into the music side as well.
Yeah, well, it's actually so crazy because it's such a big part of my life now. It's like, it's part of my identity, and I love it. I love it with all of my heart. But it only really, I guess it started when I was young, because I was doing Taekwondo when I was a kid. And I was sort of always into the vibe of fighting. I love movies with fighters and watching fights. I always thought it was so cool. And when I moved over to Melbourne, I was like, I'm actually going to try jiu-jitsu, because I'd watched so many people talk about it, and I thought, man, I've got to try this. Like, all of the mindset and everything that went along with it, I just thought, I have to do this. This is fucking awesome. Am I allowed to swear on here? So.
Be yourself. I generally don't swear, but you do you, bro.
But yeah, so when I was in Melbourne, I was like, I've got to give this a try. So I went and trained at Dominance over there, and I just got completely addicted. And I was training twice a day, every single day, just grinding really hard. And I competed in about 12 competitions last year, and went and had my first couple of novice MMA fights and an amateur MMA fight, which was really awesome. And I've definitely committed to wanting to do that for the rest of my life as more of a hobby. I'm super inspired by people that have committed to it and do it full time. It's an absolutely crazy thing to dedicate your life to. There's just nothing more wild than fighting other human beings as a hope of bringing home an income. It's absolutely crazy, and I love it. I love the energy, and all the people that do it are so cool. Like, anybody that's involved in martial arts that I've met, most of them are the best people. And my little brother Titus, he's just had his first few boxing fights, and he's got some more coming up soon. And he's had his first jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff, and he's an absolute animal, and he's keen to really go far with it. So my commitment to it will sort of be through him and working with him and helping to develop what he wants to do with it. But for me, it's almost like a religion. It's something that, like, you find, and it helps balance that side of your life. It helped to balance my mind out a lot and who I am as a person. So it's definitely a journey that I'm very inspired by and that I really enjoy.
Didn't you become Australian intermediate champ or something in 12 months?
Yeah, so it was just for my division over there, but I had nationals. I got gold at nationals in gi, and I got a few tournaments which I won, which was pretty fun.
Insane. You're probably my most intense and dedicated people or friends in my life. Like you always, whenever you attack like something that you want to like pursue, you do it 120%. You don't hold back. You'll put everything else on hold and you'll go full force at it. That's what I love about you. It's pretty cool to watch. What's that?
Sometimes that's the death of me, but yeah.
That's the one. So your martial arts side has sort of taken a back foot while you've dedicated your life to music for the moment. Is that correct?
Well, I've still been training hard and doing all that. I had a boxing fight while I was over here, which didn't really go too well. I got stopped in the first round, but it's what it is. I'm learning that side of things, and I've been training with some people down here. So yeah, for me that's just something that I sort of will always have, but it's not, music for me is the focus, and at the moment this year has just been, this year's been crazy, bro, for everybody, but it's been crazy for me, especially just working through all the stuff that we've been doing, because we haven't really stopped. For us, when coronavirus hit, it was crazy. We all moved back from Melbourne, and we kind of had a spike in work because suddenly we were in a place, everyone was together, we had a new group, and like we wrote an album, we've been into the studio, we've recorded videos, we've done all this stuff, and it's just been Banks Arcade every day. So it's been really it's been really cool, but I've definitely been super busy with that.
So what happened? What were you working on in January before COVID really hit the fan? And then how did that all change when everything started locking down and people were trying to get back into the country, and what was happening in your world?
So this year, we released an EP called Fever Dreams, which we recorded at the start of this year. Start of this year, tail end of last year. Oh no, yeah, it was this year. And so we were writing and recording this EP. Things happened with the original lineup of Banks Arcade, and things changed. So it basically ended up being just me and Jason Meadows. And we were over in Melbourne, and the infamous story that we've been telling a lot was just this time that we were working together, and I remember one day the last other member other than me and Jason decided that he was no longer going to be a part of Banks Arcade. And I remember myself and Jason sitting in a coffee room at work, and it was raining. We're in Melbourne. We've moved to another country to pursue music with this band, and now there's no fucking band. And we just see each other across from the room, and we're just like, and we're not saying anything. And it was almost like, well, this is it. The very next day, we're like, fuck it, let's just do it ourselves. Let's just call people back home. Let's find whoever we can. We're going to record this. We'll do it. We'll come back. We'll do this EP. And then if it absolutely fails, we'll just stop and cry. And so that's basically what we set out to do. We recorded a lot of this. It was recorded across like 5 different places, in his apartment back in New Zealand in a studio. When I came back over, I got one of my good long-term friends, the man, Mr. Feeks, Mr. James Feeks from Wellington, who is the bearded crusader that is now a staple in Banks Arcade. He holds down the rhythm on the drums, and he came in at a clutch moment with about a week's notice, learnt the EP. In fact, he didn't even know some of the songs until he got there, and he just learnt them while we were in studio, recorded it. And then we went back to Melbourne, recorded a video with a bunch of snakes in the same month that I was training for that first MMA fight, by the way. March is the craziest of my life. March 2020 is like the most wild shit ever.
Hustle.
Yeah. So we recorded that EP. We put it out, and then COVID hit. Well, we pretty much put it out as COVID was hitting. And then when we were in the first lockdown, we thought, all right, we've got a full lineup now. We've built the band up again. We were getting thousands of streams. Now Fever Dreams is over 500,000 across different platforms.
Holy moly. Big numbers.
Yeah, well, it's a good start. And then we thought, why don't we just write an album? And so that's what we did. And I was at my parents' house in the beautiful town of Foxton.
Yep.
Foxton, New Zealand, one of the best places on the world. The windmill, it's always sunny. The beach, So I was locked down in a little room here with a couple of dogs and my horse, and we wrote an album. And then right after lockdown finished, we went and we've pretty much just spent about 3 weeks up in Auckland with our team, recording in a studio up there. And now we're working on rolling that album out. Probably won't come out till next year, but they'll probably have some content out by the end of the year, which will be pretty cool. So yeah, this I guess from January to now, so much has changed, but also it's still the same. I'm still just hustling away, trying to make music and, you know, not get beaten up too badly.
That's the one. And I know you had a few gigs lined up. How did COVID affect all that?
Well, it definitely affected it. It cancelled all the gigs that we had lined up.
All of them?
Oh, well, we had 2 gigs that were meant to play, and they both got rescheduled. But now we've got a rescheduled date for our Wellington show. We're playing Wellington on the 15th now. I think there's like less than 50 tickets left for that show, and it'll be a sold out show, so that'll be really fun. And then we are currently rescheduling our Auckland show. So depending upon when the alert levels go down, I think we get an announcement on Monday. We will know when we can reschedule that one.
So, and didn't you have a little offer to play at a small festival called R&V?
Oh yeah, so at the end of this year, on the opening night of the sort of pre-party that they put on there, we're going to be playing in the evening. So that should be a little bit of fun. I think we're probably the heaviest band that's ever played at R&V. So, but I think with the sort of direction that we've gone, I think that the world is angry right now. I think people are pissed off, and I feel like a lot of the kids the music that they've been listening to, all of the modern hip hop and the genres that these kids have followed, it's heavy music, you know, and they just haven't been exposed to the same stuff that we were exposed to growing up. So I think that the way that we're blending genres now, and I'm heavily influenced by pop and hip hop, and this new album is very influenced by that. I think that it's going to open up to such a wider audience, and I feel like people are ready for that, and they want to just have a rage and fucking lose their mind or something. So I reckon that a more mainstream audience is going to be drawn to the sort of music that we make, which is obviously going to be really cool for us.
Yeah, and it's neat you get to play at R&V. Hopefully it goes ahead with everything that's going on.
100%.
Has there been discussions in the background that you're privy to that with what the strategy is there? Like, will they have to shut down, or will they have no clue
what the deal is? I'm just trying to share this live stream to my Facebook so that people can. Oh, there we go. No, I don't actually know. I don't know what's happening, to be honest. But I think it'll like at the moment it looks like we're going to be going to level 1, and if you're in level 1, we can run it. So
100%.
Look, at the end of the day, it's always been like this, right? People are only aware of it now because of coronavirus and everything. But
always been like what?
Like life is like this. Something can happen that messes up everything at the last minute. Someone can die. You could get injured. You could have a car crash. Anything can happen. You just have to know what you want to do and chase after that thing. And then if something happens, you adapt to that thing that's just happened. And that, the way that I see it is that now we live in a world with coronavirus. Okay, cool. I'm still a musician. I'm just a musician in a world that has coronavirus. Now what do we do? How do we keep pushing ahead? How do we try to get ahead of the curve in this world? And then if something else changes, if I bloody grow wings tomorrow, then I'll be a winged musician and I'll work out how to navigate that world. Like well, what I'm saying is that I think that this event has just brought to light something that people weren't aware of or didn't constantly make themselves aware of. And it's that we're not really in control of much, and things can change at a moment's notice. And we just need to be prepared to realize that it is what it is and crack on and keep working hard.
Roll with the punches.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love how headstrong you are. You always have been. Whenever like there's been a curveball in your way, you've just managed to like sideswipe or actually work around it to reach that end goal. It's pretty cool. What's the plans for 2021 and beyond? Like, what do you want to do with Banks Arcade?
We just want to play massive shows, man. Like that's been our dream since the start. We just want to take it and make it huge, and I think that we can. I think that we know the formula. I'm working in with some really cool people now. Our team is getting stronger and stronger. And, you know, I think 2021, who knows? Like I said, at the moment, we're working on things that we can control, right? We know that if we work really hard and we write good music, that opportunities will come and people will listen. And all we've got to do is just keep working hard. And that's literally, if you think about all the stuff, if you say, oh, you know, because people always ask you these questions, if you're like, oh, by 2021 or 2024, I want to be playing at this festival or doing this, or I want to have this much money. And it's like, yeah, but a lot of the things that result in you having that outcome are completely out of your control. But what is in your control is keep getting better at what you do, keep getting better at how you market what you do, and eventually you will see the benefits of that. I mean, obviously, as soon as possible, I want Banks Arcade to be playing as many people as we can. I mean, I want to play all around the world. And I think that, yeah, like I said, I think that we can do that. I think that's well within our abilities. But
Federations, right?
Yeah, exactly. And right now we just need to kick COVID's ass. And then
Absolutely. How do you think this whole thing has affected the music industry, specifically in New Zealand?
Well, I mean, it's devastated the music industry all over the place, but I think that New Zealand is probably a better place than, I mean, we're back up and running now. We've got gigs on. People are going to gigs. And after the first lockdown, people were going to gigs in nightclubs, and we're back up and running. Lots of countries can't say that. So I think after this lockdown, we'll be back up, and you know, if provided we don't have more cases arise, we'll be playing in a few weeks. So I think that, yeah, it's obviously devastated, and if it continued like this, you know, who knows what would end up becoming of it? Because you need live music. Live music is what pushes everything forward. So
yeah, do you think that because we had this lockdown period, people had their time at home with their family, but also gave them a bit of breathing space to work on their passions, like music, like art, like all those things that they wouldn't get to do day to day? Do you think there's more people trying out things like that at the moment, or has sort of dropped by the wayside now that we're back in level one?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know statistics about it. I can only go off my subjective conversations.
Yeah.
For us, we were lucky to be in a situation where, you know, we came home, we had gear, we had set up, we were ready and hungry to just work on music, you know? And so for us, we were in a lucky position to be locked in a room for a couple months. We probably would have tried to do that anyway. And we had actually spoken about doing that. So I think for us, we were able to create. But I've spoken to a lot of people who they really struggled. And I don't think that, you know, I don't think that people should feel horrible about that, because it is, you know, something like this, you don't know how it's going to affect you mentally. And so I think maybe some people have done that, but I think some people might have done nothing. I've spoke to a lot of friends who have just been like, man, during lockdown, I just couldn't find the motivation. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think I probably had more people tell me that they were in the second bracket than the first, the ones lacking motivation. But yeah, I would hope that it's opened people's eyes. And I hope after this, at least people are a bit more grateful. You know, if everything goes back to something similar to what it was, I hope that people appreciate being able to go out for a nice dinner more. Or even here, you know, that's already all starting to come back. We're in level one in most of the country. As people go and do these things, I hope that they think to themselves, man, this is really cool. And I think that they will.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky to live in a place like New Zealand, especially when you look at the carnage that's going on overseas. You know, it's a pretty unbelievable spot. We've got our little corner in the world. We can get on with life and do what we want to do. You know, the downside is we can't travel, but look, that's not the end of the world. People there, start rocking and rolling, but also just be happier with what we've got for the moment. You know, it's a pretty cool thing we can do in New Zealand.
Yeah,
it's pretty epic. Going back to our Palace days, because I know you touched on it earlier. So I'll just give a little bit of context for where I met Josh. It was probably, 3 years ago? About that?
Yeah, probably 3 or 4.
3 or 4 years ago. So I was fresh out of uni, and the first flat that I moved into was a flat. It was more like a mansion. We had 12 business-minded people, I suppose, living in one space. We worked from home.
Psychopath. I said
and musical. Everyone had their own projects, you know. We had something going. We're always on the move. People had lots of different lives. It was an amalgamation of lots of different personalities. When I met Josh, what were you doing at the time? You were into Manuka Village.
That's
the one.
I was that was the start of Banks Arcade. So I was working at like a corporate job and starting Banks Arcade, and I was working on a honey business, trying to start up a honey business to sell honey. So that's kind of, I had a lot going on then.
Yeah. Now, take me through what your headspace was like back then, because you were one of the busiest people I knew. You're always doing something.
Like, part of me is still recovering from that time period, but I'll always look back at that and think, man, that was some of the most fun I ever had. It was just crazy, because I feel like I was at this point in my life where I had all this energy, and I was just starting to figure a bunch of things out. Like, the band was starting, and I was working on organizing shows. I was working a 9-to-5 still, and like a corporate job. So I was doing that. And then I was around all these people that were starting businesses, and we were partying all the time and working all the time. And it just never stopped. And it was just constant. And all the people that I was surrounded with were just as, busy and doing stuff and just as keen to party. So it was just a recipe.
Stimulation.
Yeah, that's what it was. And that lasted for a year and a half of just that nonstop. And some awesome things came out of it. I learned so much in that period and had so much fun. And, there's some memories from that place that I just will be sitting on a plane or, doing something, and I'll just think back to some of those times, and wow. Like, do you remember that time that we had a release party there? And remember we played.
How can I forget that release party?
We had table tennis. Yeah. And the rule was, if you got beaten 21-0, you had to run around the house naked. That dude who was there, he got forced to run around the house naked, and then all of his crew, who we didn't even know, just tried to fight everyone because they were like, "You've disrespected our friend," and they got so heated.
Crazy times. We also gave you a room off to the side to just work on music, and at 2 a.m. in the morning we'd hear you screaming into a microphone, just working on your passions, doing your thing. It was real cool to see, but we just locked you in there sometimes, and we had heaps of fun in that house. It was cool. Everyone was doing their thing. Shout out our Lord and Savior, the Ginger Priest, the Dance King, the Ryan Ezra Bush,
Ryan Johnsimus fanboy, Amish Crusader, Ezra, the Hitman Bush, and Nathan and Lucy and everyone there. They're all just awesome, and all the stuff they're doing. Every time I see Ezra, it's always just it's a riot.
The thing that house taught me, living there and in that space with a lot of people who are just doing stuff, is that you can try some things and you won't it won't hurt you. You can, if you fail, who cares? You move on to the next thing. If you do well, then that's awesome. But you can actually manipulate what you're doing, and you can manipulate everything about you. You can change things. You can move on the fly. You can just do stuff. People don't back themselves, because I don't think people have been in that position before, or been mentally.
People are too afraid to just put themselves out there. because they think,
For
oh,
sure.
what people think, or this. Like you know how many people, like, you do anything, literally you do anything, and there's going to be people that say something to you like, oh, I really don't think that this is the right thing. You shouldn't have done that, or this or that, and you're just like, shut the fuck up. Like, the people that are always doing that, the people that are always complaining and there's always something wrong, are the ones who are doing the least, because they've got time to be doing all of that. And what you learn when you're at a place where people are always doing stuff is that it takes less time to encourage someone than it does to try and like pick all the holes on what they're doing wrong. And I feel like it makes a barrier to entry, especially in a place like New Zealand, because everybody thinks, oh, if I try and really put myself out there, everybody's going to think of me like this or think of me like that. And you just have to think, you just have to go out there and you just have to do stuff and do it as well as you can. And it might be absolutely shit. Like I said, I started doing jiu-jitsu and I was naturally good at jiu-jitsu. I started doing boxing and I was naturally good at getting knocked out in boxing. And that doesn't mean that I stopped trying to do that or that I feel like, oh, no, I can't do this. It just means, okay, this is harder for me. I might look a little bit sillier doing this. This might be, this might not be natural for me, but I'm still going to pursue this and I'm still going to do it, and you'll get better at it over time. And that's what you learn in a place like that is you have to try, and you've got to keep trying. Just put that same work ethic into whatever the flavor of the week is, and then eventually you'll land on something and you'll start to see results, and you're like, oh, this is working. And then you just give that everything and give it hell. And I don't know. I just feel like if everybody did that, if everybody found that thing that was inside of them that they really loved and connected with, if they just sat there and thought to myself, what makes me happy? What makes me like, when I hear a good song, I will literally, you ask anyone, I will lose my mind. I'll just be sitting there like getting blown into the stratosphere. So I know for me, that shit, anything to do with that, I want to be a part of that, and I want to give my life to that. And everybody has something like that. For some people, it's harder for them to find. It's not as easy for them to just know what it is. But like you said, just give something a crack. Just give it a try, and you'll find things that you love. And if you put work into those things, it'll make you happy. It's what life is about. For sure. I think your 20s is like a prime time to just taste things, to give things a go, try lots of different things. I've given heaps of things a try. I know you have as well. And you definitely find what you like and don't like in the quickest way possible, Yeah. Otherwise, another thing is you always wonder, what if I'd tried that, and you can always drop things by the wayside if they don't vibe with you. It's being with people like that. There's a certain energy that comes with it, and you can read someone pretty damn quickly when you meet them just by their language, their body language, how they talk, how they walk, whether they're on that vibe or not. And yeah, it's the biggest. I hate being around people that are low energy. They're not trying anything new. They're don't get me wrong, there's hard places to be. If you're in the poverty cycle, that's another thing altogether. But if you're excited about life, if you're willing to give things a go, that's pretty epic to see in someone. And that's the people that I vibe with the most. And I think that one thing that's also important to note is that we have this narrative, right? That, because what I'm saying is almost popularized by public figures and people who do awesome things. Chase your dreams, achieve greatness. And that's what I'm all about. I love that. I love it when people are going for something that's completely outlandish. You give me a call and tell me all the odds are against us. I want to do this thing. No one wants us to. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough time, but it's going to be fucking crazy. I'm like, yeah, let's go. That just gets me so excited. But at the same time, if everybody was like that, the world would be a ridiculous place to live in. So I think it's also important to remember that for some people, that goal or that thing is just to be a good dad, or to do their day job and do it really well and have good relationships with people and support other people. I have people in my life, one of my good friends who I always shout out and always will, is a guy by the name of Dan Rush, who is just this dude that literally always
good old Dan.
You already know, bro. That guy has just come at the random times and made some clutch plays that have kept the show on the road and really made cool things happen. And I think those people, the unsung heroes, they deserve just as much praise as people who go and do this crazy thing, because society takes all types. And so I think it's more so just finding that thing that you can connect with, and it doesn't have to be something that's crazy, and you shouldn't put the expectation on yourself for it to be something crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, yeah, like you touched on, if everyone was like that high energy go-getter, the world would be a crazy place. And that house that we lived in, it definitely was a crazy place at times, you know. Eh?
I said it had its arcs, it had its ups and downs for sure.
It's funny, as people moved in and out of the house and people moved on with their lives, the energy about the place changed. Like when we had those hippies in the house, everyone was like real calm. When we had the travelers coming through, that was funky. Like it brought with it lots of different personalities, vibes, and stories. You know.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. Yeah. What's I know you're an ideas guy, and music is one piece of your life. Have you got any ideas stewing away that you want to work on when you've got a little bit more time, or when you change your focus a little bit?
I think, to be honest, I've really consolidated down into just looking at what's in front of me at the moment. I think especially at the time that we talked about, I was doing so many different things and I was getting pretty burnt out. And I think, like, you know, I really enjoy martial arts and I want to keep pursuing that, and I want to keep pursuing music. And I've got a few things in the works at the moment that are sort of more on the music industry side, and that will be branching out from just Banks Arcade. But my focus is definitely going to be, just pushing this band as far as it goes, and helping other artists and trying to push them and grow the music scene in New Zealand is what I want to do at this present point in time.
Are you going to focus solely on Banks Arcade, or you've got, like I know you had a couple of other brands in the works a couple of years ago? Are you?
Yeah. There's going to be some other little things coming along.
Yeah, we'll see. Hiding in the shadows, see what happens.
Yeah, we might just pop something out of there that no one's expecting. But
that's good.
Banks Arcade is definitely the main focus for me at the moment. Like, though it is so tight, and the way that those guys are, the way that the whole team is working together, like that is, you know, it's working so well. And I think that we're building a model that we're going to be able to copy and paste, and other people are going to be able to follow. And I think that, you know, working independently and doing things the way that we're doing it is how bands can function. And I think that, we've learned lessons along the way that are really helping us to create a good strategy for this next release. And I feel like it's going to go really well.
Sick. That's awesome, bro. You've always been wild, let's say, to put lightly, when you had all your ideas, and it's cool to see you double downing on the thing that you really want to at the moment. It's epic, and hopefully it's already started to bring you success, and I know that you're someone that can build something pretty epic, so it'll be cool to see what comes of it in the years to come.
Yeah, for sure.
If you had one message for the viewers to tie all this up, about music, about what's happened with COVID, or anything that you want, what would you say to everyone?
I think most of it has already been said, to be honest. I try not to, I sat down one day and I made a document that basically summed up what value I want to put across and all the things that I was doing. And I realized that there's a lot of people out there that are doing a very, very good job at speaking out on certain issues, at rallying the public to do certain things. I didn't really feel like I was in a position to speak on those sorts of issues, because I didn't have the knowledge of them to the level that I thought that I should. And, you know, a lot of musicians and actors and people will weigh in on stuff, and I'm like, really? Should you really be weighing in on that? Are you the voice that we should be listening to in regards to this thing? I feel like I would rather tune into a scientist or somebody that's a bit more equipped to have this conversation. But anyway, what I realized that I was equipped to talk about was feeding off of inspiration and truly driving towards something that you want. And if I've got any message to people that are listening, it's that if you want to do something and you're sitting down on the couch and you feel depressed and shit's not going your way, because I've been like that and I get like that. It happens, especially to high energy people. You hit these places where you can't even get out of bed. My message is find the path to do that thing. And even if you're only doing that thing at the smallest level, if you want to be something and you don't have the equipment, you don't have the team, you don't have all the things that you need, but you can do this. You can get on your computer or get out a notepad and start writing up a plan and start trying to find people. If you do that, even if you're all alone in your bedroom and you've got a computer and an idea for a song, before you know it, a couple years down the track, you'll be standing in a place and there'll be all these people around you making videos and doing that, and all this stuff's happening. And then you think back to that moment that you were just sitting there and you were like, well, I might as well start doing something. So my message would just be to start.
Nice and simple. Love it. One more thing I wanted to talk to you about. I know you just had your mic drop moment, but did you watch the MMA fight the other day? The UFC? Of course. I knew you would. Yeah, it was. I couldn't believe how quick it was.
Balloon animal got fucking bodied, bro.
Not that I'm not that into the UFC. I'm not I'm not religious about, but I can respect athletic ability. And my friend was watching it at the time, and so I sat down and watched it, and I couldn't believe how quick it was.
Yeah, well, I could. That dude is a buffoon. As what I'm here is an absolute ignoramus, and it's just glorious. The thing is he's. I
was watching him strike the leg, his front leg, multiple times, and you just saw those bruises and welts come up. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that would freaking hurt. You could see his strategy from the start, just hit him in the leg, and then.
There's so much going on, which is just crazy, and yeah, I think that those guys are awesome. It's so awesome that New Zealand, there were New Zealanders fighting on that card, and it's awesome that New Zealand is becoming known for MMA, and that there's so many good guys over here. And I think it's really cool. Also, are you going to unblock me from your page now? I went on there today and I realized that I still can't react to any of your posts. Why don't you tell your viewers about that?
So there's a bit of a story. There's a story to this. So the reason was when I was starting the Daily Jase, Josh jumped on because we've been mates for a while, and he started trolling a few of my posts and tagging people who would get stirred up the wrong way. So I decided to block him because he was just trolling all over the page. I'll unblock you, mate, since you've been a guest on the show. But if you troll again, I'll just block you again.
I didn't even know. All I used to do was just angry react all of your posts, and then you didn't like that.
And but you tag a certain someone in certain posts.
Oh yeah.
We'll leave that for this podcast, but it was pretty crack up in the background, but you're just
now that I've been on so that I'll only give love reacts this time, just the occasional.
You're too kind. Yeah, I'll unblock you, mate. There we go. I actually forgot I blocked you. It was a while back. All good, bro. We'll leave it there. Thanks so much for jumping on. Keep at it with the music and Banks Arcade. It's cool to see your journey and success, and can't wait to see a gig of yours again. And we'll catch up soon.
Thank you, brother. You have a good one.
Awesome, bro. Peace out. Plug. If someone wants to find you, how can they find you?
Just Banks Arcade. We got that pure handle. None of this. Extra bullshit. So just Banks Arcade on Instagram, Banks Arcade on Facebook, Banks Arcade. Yep, there I am, blue hair, shitty glasses. There's the lads.
Awesome.
Just go ahead up there.
Awesome, bro. I'll catch you soon.
Catch you later, bro.
Peace. Mr. Joshua O'Donnell, everyone. Epic dude, intense guy, but he always chases what he goes after, and he goes 120%. He's always in the fast lane. It's pretty cool to see someone operate like that and see his journey from the start. And I'm sure because of how he operates, he'll be going places. That's all from me for today. If you want to check out more videos like that, just jump on the Daily Jase Facebook page, give it a like. There'll be more guests in the mix coming up. I'm pretty excited for where we're heading because there's always some cool New Zealanders to talk to. If you think you know someone that wants to have a chat and just have their time in the limelight, just give me a direct message and we can organize it and we can have a chat. I know there's some epic people out there. But that's all for today, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Peace out.